is awesome.
Nice dress.
Thank you. I've always been the kind of person who thinks no means find another way. Like when I was 19 and I really wanted to go to the School of Visual Arts. It took me 2 years, but I got in at the age where most people graduate. I decided to become a performer when I was 35, the age where most people give it up. So when 10 years later, my husband told me that he no longer wanted to be married, I was sure I could change his mind. I mean, after all, hadn't we spent nearly 14 years living and creating art together? But this time, no really meant no. There were days afterwards where I'd come to at work and not remember waking up or getting dressed or taking the subway ride. There were nights that I would just sit alone on my kitchen floor and just howl. And then a friend said to me, the master of online dating, said, Michelle, come on, why be alone? Just sign up for OkCupid. Now, there are 3 things that you should know about me. One is that I've walked into subway tunnels to write graffiti. I've hosted many a rowdy burlesque show. And I've stood on stage and told a story in front of 750 people. But I did not have either the stomach or the cojones for online dating. I mean, come on, what happened to just getting trashed and taking someone home? But I had to admit that the last time I had done that was in 1990. And I married him. And then there seemed to be this other conspiracy out against me. Every time I opened up a magazine or went online, I saw yet another article about the invisible woman. And that all it did was tell me that how now that I was a woman of a certain age, how the bloom was now off my rose and the rot had now begun. And then if I didn't have a partner by now, I better just give it up, because I was more likely to be struck by lightning than by love at first, last, or any sight. And so, I accepted that I was in a new phase of my life, one that I called manopause. And for something to do, I joined a writing group, because there was no one around anymore to tell me what I could or couldn't do, or that I could or couldn't write a book. So I did. And when I found out, soon after I found out that this book was actually going to be published, I took a walk in Prospect Park, and I passed by one of the traffic circles where there was this little grove of magnolia trees. And it was one of those early spring days where you could just see all the fuzzy little hairs on the little green buds just quivering under the pressure of those creamy pink flowers, just waiting for just the right moment to burst out naked and free into the breeze. And I just stood there with the sap and the fragrance just got to me. And I yelled back at those trees and I said, I know how you feel. I want to be pollinated. But of course, it had been over a year and a half since, as the Old Testament puts it, I last knew a man. And I had actually become okay with the fact that I was more likely to be mauled by a tiger than by another partner. But then, the unthinkable, the unimaginable, the unexpected and the unbelievable and the unlikely thing happened. One night, a redhead walked into a bar, and 4 hours later, walked out. And not alone. The next morning, I woke up with a man in my bed. And then I remembered his name was Larry. Ew, Larry! Oh God, the worst name in the world. How the hell could I sleep with a guy named Larry? Oh. And then I had to walk him to the R train because he didn't know his way around my part of Brooklyn. And he kept trying to hold my hand, and I kept not letting him because all I could think was that, oh, this is just a one-night stand, just forget it. No, you walk there and I'll walk here. And as he's whistling, as he's going down the steps to the subway, and he's like, I'll call you. And I was thinking, yeah, right. I mean, hadn't I just broken every rule in every dating book known from grandma's age to now? And how old were we? But he did call. And on our next date, I caught him sneaking one of those violet candies into his mouth before he kissed me. And that's when I realized, oh man, he's nervous too. But I still wouldn't accept it. And after each date, I would just keep telling myself, oh, it's just going to last a day, a week, a month, and then 3 months, because I just couldn't admit to myself that this was something that was really happening. But then the longer I got to know him, the more I got to know that he had been married before too, and he had grown children, and he had been an artist, but then he gave it up to raise his family. But now that he was divorced, he was trying to get back to it. And the longer I knew him, the more I realized that he and I were at the exact same place in our life, only he had taken a different path. It's 3 years and 5 months for us today. Yes, today, the 27th. I know. And so just at the point of my life where I'm supposed to be settled and content with things that I did and that my life is almost over, no, it's not over. It's just begun. Really, again. And maybe I was just like those magnolia blossoms waiting for the right breeze to come out. Or maybe I'm just the kind of person who thinks no means find another way. Thank you.
I say no, you say no, I say no, 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 feels good. You say bye, I say no, say bye, no. I'll say no.